Good evening, family. This is a product of Beverly Nation. This is Know Your Rights, and I'm your host, Terrence Strength. On air now from Long Beach, California. Call in 605-562-0444. Press pin number 7414519#. £1 to listen, *2 to join the conversation. This is brought to you by Looking Glass Entertainment, and before I begin, I would like to thank Brother Oladelli and the One Dynasty family for giving me the opportunity to share my story and my perspective. The topic this evening is spirituality, a new perspective, and we're going to go over some spiritual terms. Question for this evening: if anyone has a great experience with a psychic or a medium, please call in and let me know. Again, if anyone has a great experience or story they want to tell with a psychic or a medium, please call in or let me know. When you completely accept this moment, when you no longer argue with what is, the compulsion to think lessens and is replaced by an alert stillness. You are fully conscious, yet the mind is not labeling this moment in any way. It is a shift from identification with form, the thought, or the emotion to being and recognizing yourself as that which has no form. Spacious awareness. That piece was by Eckhart Tolle. Spacious awareness. So let's talk about these terms. So for the past couple of sessions, we were talking about the universal laws. And when you talk about universal laws, we're talking about, I've been going over and over about this, about us being in school, the fact that we are eternal, the fact that we are eternal beings that are down here in a spacesuit trying to evolve and grow. I talked about how important it is for us to understand the laws of engagement in terms of the universal laws and to figure out what we are here to learn. Over the past couple of weeks, you've heard me talk about how we have all these roles that we play. We come into all these situations, cultures, religions, families, circumstances. We come into all these things. And the fact of the matter is, it's just a movie set for us to overcome and learn whatever it is that we're here to learn. It takes place in many shapes and forms. And so for us to be aware of this and what it means to us in our progression, the more we know about these terms, the more we engage, it helps us to develop a mindset that is spiritual. But if you find yourself stuck in all the dogma and all the drama that's down here, that's not going to be the case. And you find yourselves being confused. A lot of us are depressed. Our lives are out of whack, which is not hard to do in this realm. Our relationships are out of whack. We love very little. We hate a whole lot. We're mad at everything. And this is all part of us. This is all part of that process of us not remembering. But you will find that as you go down this path and you begin to study, first starting with understanding your history, understanding with who you are, no matter what ethnic group you come from, but understanding your history is akin to you accepting yourself. And once you go down that path and you begin to investigate that, then you begin to examine and challenge what you say you believe in any way. And once you go through that hurdle, then you begin to become more aware, and you will probably find yourself getting in some form of spirituality, some way where you can master yourself and master those things. So it's all about us becoming aware. So in order to do that, we have to work. It takes work. It takes daily work of being cognizant of what we're here to do and trying to be aware of what's going on and what it means for us and how we're to navigate this realm and trying to love more. And it can be very challenging. It is very challenging. So As you've heard me say over and over again, and you will continue to hear me say over and over again as we go through different aspects of this, that we are here to grow and evolve, and that we are eternal. Okay? So if we are eternal, I know a lot of us don't believe that. It sounds like I'm preaching something out of this world, but the fact of the matter is we are eternal. We have the God spark. Okay? We are creators. And so if we are creating, the question we have to ask ourselves is, what are we creating? So tonight, I know we have the holidays coming, we have Christmas coming, and I guess I'll talk about that on the session after Christmas and everything. But right now, I don't want to talk about that right now. I want to talk about some of these terms and transition us to understand how we use some of these terms and what they really mean and what they're here for. So we're going to talk about some of these terms that I have written down so that we can get somewhat of a fuller understanding of it and what it means for us. And also to get used to using these words and trying to bring them, so as to say, try to bring them to the streets. We all may know of what some of these words are, but how do we use them? How do we how do we add these to our lives to help us navigate this realm? All right. So let's get started. So the first one we heard when we were talking, one of the ones that came up a lot when we were going over the spiritual laws, the universal laws, is spirit guides. And this is something that I think came up a lot when I was reading that, talking about spirit guides. So spirit guides are not always of human descent. Some spirit guides live as energy in the cosmic realm or as light beings, which are very high-level spirit guides. Some spirit guides are persons who have lived many former lifetimes. They've paid their karmic debts and advanced beyond a need to reincarnate. Many devotees believe that spirit guides are chosen on the other side by human beings who are about to incarnate and wish assistance. So when you talk about spirit guides, they're the ones that usually get blamed. Like normally, whenever we have any intuition or we feel like we've been led to do something, we just say it's God. We blame it all on God. And what I normally tell people, I said, well, it's his company, that's for sure. It's probably not him doing it, but it's definitely his company. It's his organization. So spirit guides are usually, we usually have 3 or 4 spirit guides. Sometimes they're beings, sometimes they're animals that guide us. Like their job is to guide us while we're in this lifetime. They've decided not to incarnate back here again, and instead decided to watch over us, to guide us, to help us figure out what we're here to do while we're in this lifetime. And there's even a camera, I have to find that, I'll probably talk about that in future shows, but there's a camera that can actually take a picture and you can see the outline of them and everything. And of course, many psychics and all talk to their spirit guides, and you can learn how to find out who your spirit guides are also. That's something we'll talk about later too. But basically, when I say that you are never alone and you are loved at all times, this is part of what I mean. You are never alone. Even when you think you are physically alone, your spirit guides are always around you. You are never, ever alone, ever. And you are constantly loved at all times. Their job is to help to guide you and protect you and to move you towards wholeness. I mean, that's their purpose. So spirit guides is something that you want to get used to. And again, these are reminders of our eternal nature. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about are ascended masters. And ascended masters are believed to be spiritually enlightened beings who in past incarnations were ordinary humans, but who have undergone a series of spiritual transformations called initiations. And these initiations are pretty evolved. They involve parallel dimensions and everything. So it gets pretty deep and it gets pretty out there. Okay? But basically that's what ascended masters are. All right? Let's talk about reincarnation. something that you have certain religious beliefs. You have a lot of your ancients. When I was studying this stuff, I noticed that a lot of the older religions or beliefs had reincarnation, and the newer one, organized religions, did not have that. And I was like, why is reincarnation taken out when the older you go, they all understood this stuff. They all understood reincarnation. So reincarnation is the philosophical concept that non-physical essence of a living being starts a new life in a different physical form or body after biological death. It is also called rebirth or transmigration, and it is a part of the samsara doctrine of cyclic existence. In short, samsara is a cycle of death and rebirth. So many ancient organizations, Kemet, they all talked about reincarnation. Everything in life is death and rebirth. Even in this realm is, you're born, you live, you die, and then there's a new birth. So it's a whole cycle of dying and rebirthing in terms of what reincarnation is. So again, talking about our spiritual nature. It's funny because I was raised in the church, and we used to sing a song. We used to sing a song called "The Soul of Man Never Dies." Never. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that. And it was interesting because where I worship, of course we didn't believe in reincarnation, but yet we were singing a song about reincarnation. I just thought that was fascinating that we were singing a song, "The soul of man never dies, never dies." And at that time, little did I know how true that was. So certainly that's what that is. So again, call in. The question for this evening is, if anyone has a great experience with a psychic or a medium, please call in and let me know. This is a product of Beverly Nation. I'm your host, Know Your Rights. Please call in 605-562-0444. Press pin number 7414519 £1 to listen, *2 to join the conversation. Give me a call. All right, so let's keep this moving and get into this. So that was Ascended Masters and Reincarnation. And we talked about spirit guides. Now let's talk about psychics and mediums. All right, so I'm sure a lot of us, well, some of us, if we believe in that or whatever, when you talk about psychics or medium and why people have that gift, there are many people who have that gift. The way I look at a psychic or a medium, they're basically put here as signposts to help us while we navigate this realm. It is not their job to usurp why we're here and to tell us what we're here to learn, because that's our job to figure that out. But they are here to help us. So as I was studying many years ago, I realized that there was a need for this, and then I understood why they did exist. Okay, and of course, a lot of us who don't understand, there are a lot of fakes that are out there, people who claim that can do that. Well, listen, I'm gonna tell you, family, when you run into the real ones, then you will know. Like they will make you think. Okay, so the purpose of them is to help us to navigate, to provide the emotional relief. Sometimes we hit roadblocks. There are things that we don't know, and there are also examples. You have a lot of forensic psychics that work for the police department. They work in government to help solve problems, and it's funny how that is because a lot of the police departments, they don't announce the fact that they have forensic psychics working for them. I know there was a great case in Philadelphia years ago with one, I think her name was Valerie, the case of Shelley Turner, I believe, where this lady, her daughter was missing, and so the whole police department was looking for her daughter. So they called in Valerie, who was a forensic psychic, to see what was going on. And of course, the lady didn't know what that was and didn't know who she was, and so unfortunately for her, she let Valerie into her home. And when Valerie opened the door and entered her home, all of a sudden she channeled the dead daughter, and she hollered out in the daughter's voice, "Mommy, tell them where you buried me." And the lady The lady had murdered her daughter, and she was helping the police department look for her daughter. She was working with the police to find her daughter that she had murdered. Valerie channeled her daughter and then informed the police where the daughter was buried. So I think that case is still, I guess she's locked up or whatever, but the lady passed out when Valerie did that. So there are many, many examples of them helping law enforcement to find cases that are cold cases, or missing children or missing people, where they'll run into dead ends, and they'll bring in a forensic psychic to help them to locate that. So it's just very fascinating to me how, and they kind of keep that hush hush because they're aware that communities, many in the community don't believe in those things, don't believe in that and everything, and they don't want to disrupt any of that. But the fact of the matter is, there are many, many that are on the payroll using their skills and gifts to help solve crimes and to help solve problems. So it's one way where we blend these realms. So a medium is an individual who is a middleman or mediator, a person who goes between the spiritual and physical worlds. A medium is able to use energy to reach through the thin veil separating the physical life from the spiritual life. A way of looking at the concepts of mediumship is as follows. Human beings are made up of the superconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious minds. In mediumship, all thoughts, feelings, and sights are transmitted through a medium's superconscious or spirit mind. We are all constantly picking up spirit impressions in this way, but it is the medium who is able to interpret them. Now, there are 4 categories of mediumship. The first one is clairvoyance. Now, a clairvoyant can see objects, colors, symbols, people, spirits, or scenes. And these pictures are not visible to the naked eye, but flash into the medium's mind. So I'm going over now the different amount of gifts and skills that different people have, that usually when they have these gifts, they struggle with them. I mean, I've read stories or heard stories of a lot of psychics that they had the gifts when they were young, and they were constantly seeing spirits, and they were afraid constantly, and eventually they learned to deal with it. They learned to accept it because they constantly had spirits coming to them because they were able to see, or they wanted to contact loved ones or whatever. So you can obviously understand how frightening that can be for a young child at the time. But it's their gifts. It's part of what their purpose is in this realm. Then you have clairaudience. Another type of medium is a clairaudient, or clear hearing. And a clairaudient hears with the psychic ear or sensitized ear. They can hear sounds, names, voices, and music that vibrate on a higher frequency, much like a dog. So that's another type. Okay. And then you have a clairsentience, which is a clear feeling, which means clear feeling, and they can sense when spirits are in the room. A true clairsentient will usually feel the spirit personality. So these types of mediums are very in tune. They can feel who you are. They can feel how you feel in your personality and everything, and then they can convey that to the sitter. All right. And then we have inspiration thought. And in many cases, a band or group of souls can impress an earthly recipient with inspirational thought. The group of souls meld their thoughts together and impresses the person to write a certain piece of music, or paint a particular picture, or to solve a great problem, or to help bring people together. This is constantly happening on the other side, where they intuit and get together to help us solve problems here to make it easier for us. So again, when I say that we are never alone, we're never alone. I've had friends of mine who've gone and seen psychics. I mean, that's been my experience, and I remember having a feeling of totally just feeling like I wasn't alone, and this person truly understood me. Like they truly knew what I was feeling and could understand. And so I've heard many who've experienced that. All right. Again, call in 605 562-0444. Press pin number 7414519 #, then £1 to listen, *2 to join the conversation. Give me a call. The question for this evening: if anyone has a great experience with a psychic or a medium, please call in and let me know. I would love to hear your stories or your concerns or both. But give me a call back. All right. All right. So another thing I want to talk about, another category I want to talk about is pain bodies. Because this is something that a lot of groups suffer from down here. And it is an accumulation of painful life experience in the moment that it arises. It leaves behind an energy form or emotional pain. It comes together with other forms from other instances, and so after some years, you have a pain body, an energy entity consisting of old emotions. So when I think about pain bodies, I think about the emotional pain that certain groups in this room go through, or people go through. I mean, we as people go through pain bodies because of emotional stuff that we haven't dealt with, that we haven't learned how to deal with, i.e. through meditation or going to therapy or counseling. And so we develop these pain bodies, and they can be transferred to our children, and they can be transferred generationally. And so part of one of the reasons of you wanting to become enlightened or conscious is understanding what they are and learning how to get rid of them. And of course, we have cultural groups. There are pain bodies for cultural groups. You know, the African American community has the pain body of slavery. You know, we still deal with that as a group. You know, the victim consciousness because of oppression and not really dealing with a lot of the scars from our past. Well, as a group, we have to deal with that. That's part of, you know, those of us that have incarnated as people of African descent, we have to deal with that within this realm, you know. And again, you know, part of helping us get past that is knowing our history and undertaking that. But spiritually, it's part of what we have to deal with from this realm, and it becomes, you know, you have all types of scenarios that deal with that, you know, from all sides of it. So all the ethnic groups, we all have different pain bodies that we have to deal with. If you're Jewish, you have to deal with that. Or if you're of European descent, you know, all the pain bodies with that. And so this is how we bring it all down, to bring it to earth in terms of dealing with it, that the more we know about ourselves, you know, the more we take the journey to find out who we are, we get an opportunity to deal with a lot of these issues. And from that, we grow and evolve. So it's very, very important to understand this stuff. But pain bodies are very powerful. You know, we have them as individuals, we have them as group, and we transfer them to our children, and then they develop them. And, you know, and as the saying goes, our children's, we choose our parents, you know, our children choose us as parents, and, you know, we mess them up, and it's their job to fix themselves. That's how they evolve. That's pretty much how it works, you know. So that's what pain bodies are, all right? And let's talk about spirits. The one thing that I want to mention is the fact that spirits cannot interfere with karmic progression. Okay? They cannot interfere with your karmic progression. So when clients come to a medium seeking info from spirits regarding wealth, love, or career, the spirit people may or may not be able to provide such information. It all depends on whether the spirit knows the answer and also whether the spirit is allowed to reveal it. When a soul comes on this earth to learn certain lessons or to spiritually progress, the last thing he or she needs is for a spirit being to give the answers to a situation that may be a test. We must be aware that there are spiritual laws, and the spirit being cannot interfere or try to influence the spiritual or karmic progression of another. So certain information may be hidden or veiled. The spirit people love us too much to hinder our growth. So as you can see, that even when it comes to going to see, there are so many shows out now, so many psychic and medium shows out now for entertainment or whatever that you see. But the fact of the matter is, there are spiritual laws, and you are not allowed to mess with that. You are not allowed to tamper with that. And so sometimes you don't always hear what you think you're going to hear. So there's certainly a way to get into that. All right, I think I have a caller in the queue. Caller one, who am I speaking with?
Hi. Hi, Terrence. It's Jerry Petito. How are you?
How are you doing, Miss Petito? How's everything going?
Everything's good. I'm actually home kind of sick, so I've been listening to the shows the
Oh,
last few days,
I hope
which
you
is
feel better.
great. Um, Thank you. But I wanted to just tell you, I had a ghost
Ah.
in my life for years.
Wow.
I'll tell you real quick. My dad had Alzheimer's, and me and my brother used to take him out for breakfast or lunch every day. And we would go every 3 months to the Hamilton Township, like the border of Trenton, the municipal building, and pay taxes there for my daughter.
Yes.
Okay? So I never went to that before, and my brother said, come on, I'm going to show you what to do. So my brother pulls up he goes into the parking lot, not the main entrance, pulls up where the disabled is, and he says, now listen, go through this side door. There's an elevator to the right. Take it to the 3rd floor. Go up. You'll see the window. Come back down. I'll wait for you. I walk in, and there's this African-American elderly gentleman in a security guard outfit with a desk, and he says, hey, sweetie. And I said, hey. And he goes, sign my book, darling. So I sign his book, and 2 young, rough-looking white guys come in after, and he comes from around his desk, and he says, sign my book now. So they kept looking at each other, looking at me, looking at him. He goes, I said, sign my book. So long story short, they sign the book. They go down these steps. He says, sweetie, don't ever bring cash here. I'm going to wait right here for you. Go up to the 3rd floor. Now, for the next 2 years, every 3 months, my brother would bring me back, and he would say, go say hi to your buddy. And I would go in, and he would come from around the desk. My father is now, he passed away 2 years ago. So now we couldn't take there. I said, I want to go see my buddy. Terrace, I go in, and the desk is gone, and the guy is gone. So I thought he retired. So I go upstairs, and I said, oh, did my buddy retire? What buddy? Well, now for the next 2 years, I've asked everyone in law enforcement, everyone that works in any of our municipalities in Robbinsville, Trenton, and Hamilton, not one person, everyone said no security guard ever worked there, no black gentleman ever worked there. There's not even room in there for a desk.
Wow.
I went back, I took photos of the room. I kid you not, I have the photos on my phone permanently. And he had to be my angel. He saved my life that day.
Wow.
And I'll never forget.
Wow. Wow.
Never forget that. Yep.
That's an incredible story. Yeah, absolutely. He was an angel. Well, I want to thank
He was
you.
my angel.
Wow. I want to thank you for sharing that.
I want to, you're welcome, but I want to congratulate you, sweetheart, on your O&E syndicated station all-time connection record with your 9th all-time and your 8th consecutive. How about that?
Thank you very much, and thank you for calling in the Internet Radio Hall of Fame class of 2019 in Shriney. Jerry Petito, could you let the listening audience know when your show is?
Yep, it's every other Tuesday night at 10 p.m. It's this coming Tuesday.
Okay.
And we're doing 2 shows. One is at 8 p.m., The Nativity with John Facenda. Everybody please tune into that.
Okay.
And then my show at 10 p.m. Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, thank you for that. That's an incredible story. That's an incredible story. How did that...
Crazy, right?
If you don't... Yeah, wow, that's an incredible... How did that change you, like experiencing something like that? Like, how did that change you?
Okay, so, all right, I've had a few ghosts in my life, and I had some experiences younger, so I kind of have had this stuff going on for a very long time in my life, but this that I kept seeing him. You know, I thought he was real. It's I don't even know how to answer that question.
Wow.
All I know is to this day, I still pray and say, all right, Lord, I hope I get to meet him again.
Wow.
I just want to see him again.
Wow, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will.
You know,
Well, thank
somebody
you.
told me I'm going to see him again, and I'm going to hug him, and yes, that's all I want. I just want to see him again.
Okay. All right, Jerry. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for that. Wow. And we look forward to hearing
You're
your
welcome.
show.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
sweetheart.
Yep. And Ngozi, are you there, brother?
Yeah,
O?
I'm gonna keep, I'm here, and I'm gonna keep Jerry on the phone. Hey, Jerry, how are you?
I'm good, sweetie. How are you?
Tomorrow night, we bring on a man that is a legend and a gift to us in all broadcast history, Mr. Jonathan Thunder. I'm just gonna tomorrow's the nativity at 8:00, special show, and we'll make a program alert. And Tara, you know, I want you to get a chance to feel what's going to happen tomorrow night in the voice of Jonathan Thunder. Do you allow me?
Absolutely.
There's glory in the legends of this hard muscle life, and there's poetry in each season made of sweat and strife. But now's the time to work and strain at a sport that tests the spirit and challenges the brain.
Yeah, I like to have 75 degrees and sunny all the time.
Do you fear the force of the wind, the slash of the rain? Go face them and fight them. Be savage again.
All right, guys. Did you feel that, Jerry? All right, tomorrow night at the Nativity, featuring Jonathan Thunder here on these ONE stations. Now back to Terrace, right here on the ONE station.
Thank you. Wow, that's awesome. Looking forward to that tomorrow. And thank you, Jerry, for that story. It's incredible. All right, family. So as you can hear, you know, Miss Petita was talking about I guess it was an angel. You know, I mean, we do have ghosts. He referred to it as a ghost, which are usually souls that don't know that they're dead yet. Usually, you have those situations where it's something that's traumatic or sudden, and they literally get thrown out of their bodies, and they hang around because they're not aware that they're dead. So, you know, normally when you run into one of those, you just want to send them to the light. But her story was very, very interesting. Now, one of the things I want to talk about, and I talk about spirits not interfering with karmic progression, because even they understand why we're here, you know. And of course, if you don't believe in any of these things, and you're not going to understand, you know, what's going on, you're missing half of the movie in terms of being down here. If you don't understand all these things, that even the spirit world understands, they know why you're here, and we know a lot of this stuff. First of all, from the ancients who had access to this, we've always had access to the other side through our own pineal glands. Okay, before technology and all of this stuff has come aboard, that kinds of pulls us away from it, but it hasn't changed. The fact of the matter is, we come into this realm and we continue to leave this realm. And so one of the things I want to talk about is regression therapy. And basically what regression therapy is the process of putting a person in a semi-conscious state and tapping into their past lifetimes. There's a book out by Brian Weiss called Many Lives, Many Masters. If you want a good read, that's a good one to pick up, that talks about that. I believe he was a medical scientist or a therapist who, of course, very rational, didn't believe in any of this, and he took in a patient, and he was trying to counsel her, and saw her going through all these past lifetimes that she was dealing with, and it's a very, very fascinating book. You want to check it out. But it's funny how, you know, there's things out here in this world, and we have a bunch of us who may not believe in it, and then we have others who not only believe in it, they're using it to help people. It's just funny how there's like different realities here, you know. And so people are using regression therapy. Some of the benefits of regression therapy to the person is that it helps people to overcome irrational fears. Another benefit is to understand and eliminate relationship patterns and problems. So people are now using regression therapy to help with their relationships. Also finding solutions to current problems and situations. Another benefit of regression therapy is to heal the emotional pain of past trauma, also to help overcome bad habits that have been resistant to prior change efforts, and also to help you to eliminate emotional blocks. The great Sylvia Brown, she's now crossed over. She had an organization, I can't think of what it's called now, but she had an organization where she would use regression therapy and she would videotape people while they were going under. And some of the subjects that she was videotaping would be when they went under, she was tapping their past lives and they were speaking languages fluently that they did not know in this lifetime. Some of the people were getting regrets and going back so far, they were speaking languages that were dead. They had to bring in linguistics experts to understand what they were saying. I mean, fascinating. So, I mean, how do you explain something like that? You know, you go under and you're speaking languages fluently that you do not know. The one story I have is of a person that in this lifetime, he was having problems with his ankle, like down by his foot, and he didn't understand, you know, what it was. He was constantly going to the doctors and everything, and they couldn't figure out what was going on with him and everything. And so he got regressed, and as he was going under into one of his past lives, his foot began to curve. The guy had a club foot in his past life, which is why he had the pain in his foot in this lifetime, and that's what it was. And I'm pretty sure after he had the regression, after he went through the regression, it went away. You know, so regression therapy is a very powerful form to not only help you to figure out what your path is, because sometimes some of the things that we did in previous lifetimes impact who and what we are in this lifetime. It's one of the reasons why we can't take a lot of what we run into with people, family, friends. We can't take them as personal because you don't know who this person is. You know, you have no idea who they are. You know, I myself was regressed, and that was very interesting. And I remember the person who regressed me, you know, some of the stuff that I said during my regression. You know, I told her that I wanted to free people. I said this during my regression, and she was like, "Oh my God." Very interesting, very powerful stuff. Caller 2 in the queue. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, Terrence. This is Andrea Kaczynski with the Voice of Hope. How are you doing
How
tonight?
are you doing, Miss Kaczynski? How's everything going?
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying your show.
Thank you.
I was calling in to, I don't know what kind of experience you would say this would be. I would say maybe an angel. When I first moved to Florida about 20 years ago, I was moving into my new home, and I was told to go to this church that they had this of beautiful furniture like every springtime. Mm-hmm. So I went to it, and the office was starting to close, and I told the lady, I had 2 small kids at the time, that I would like to come back whenever they have this, you know, sale. I would like to see what they have because I, you know, didn't have much. We were just moving into our home. And she said, okay, come back at such and such time. So the next day, I showed up at that time. And when I showed up, there was nobody in the office. As I walked past the office, there was this man, and I just remember hearing the jingling of his keys. He used to be the head of maintenance he's passed on, but he used to be the head of maintenance for like 20-something years. And it reminded me of him, so I thought, oh, well, maybe this gentleman is, you know, taking care of the church there. And so I went and asked him, I said, do you know when they're going to be back in the office? He said, no, I'm not sure, but what are you looking for? And I said, well, they were going to show me what they had for the sale, and so I could look at some of the items. And he goes, okay, I can show you. And he opens up the door of this big warehouse, and he shows me everything, you know, couches, washer and dryer, furniture set. I mean, it was really nice things. And I said, oh, this is beautiful. I said, I like this and that, you know, and he things that I said I liked. And I said, well, when can I come pick them up? And he said, well, you'll have to come back tomorrow. You know, they don't do that today. So I went back, and I told the lady, she happened to be at the office, and she said, yeah, we were closed yesterday. And I said, well, there was a gentleman there. And I told her what happened, and she said, there's no one that works here by that name. I said,
What?
well, he let me in. Yeah, she said, I said, he let me in. I told her what happened, and she said, let's go back to the warehouse. Well, when we went back to the warehouse and she opened the doors, sure enough, there was, you know, my name on all these things I said I wanted. And she was like, no, he looked like, and I described him. And I'm not Catholic, but she said, that sounds like St. Anthony, the, I guess the angel of lost things or something like that.
Right.
And I said, oh, well, I don't know who that is, but I said, he told me that, you know, these were my things, I could have them. She goes, you know what? You can have them. And she gave them to me. I didn't have to purchase them. I was like, no. And she's like, yes, she was visited by St. Anthony. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'd never had that happen before.
Wow. You have a lot of, you seem to have a lot of spiritual phenomena around you, Miss Kaczynski. What is that?
I don't know what that is. It's so funny that I've just probably in the last couple of years, I have a friend who is very intuitive, and she has pointed these things out to me. And she asked me one day, after my friend Peter that passed away, she said, before you leave the presence, can you stand where the sun is behind you and take a picture? And I said, why? And she said, I want to see what it looks like. And so I did it, and I have the picture. There is this big ball of light in my hair. And I said, what is this? It's like somebody is sitting on my shoulder. It's like a big bright light. It's not the sun. And you could see, I guess it was my aura.
Yes.
Right under that is where I had stopped as I was leaving that area. That's where my friend used to go and go to the lake where he lived right there. And I had found a feather right under my foot. And that's where I was taking the picture. And she said, oh, wow. And she says, he was there with you, you know. And she just started pointing these things out because I had never really paid close attention to them. But, yeah, it's been pretty interesting since I've met her, the things that I never noticed before in pictures that was right there and I never seen them.
That's very, that's very interesting. That's very, man, you seem to have a lot of spiritual phenomena going on around you.
Yeah, and I never noticed it till, you know, she started pointing these things out, and it's happened throughout my lifetime, and, you know, people would say they'd see this in pictures when they took pictures of me, and she started to explain it and what it meant. I never knew what it meant. I didn't know what seeing green colors meant or seeing balls of light on you or anything like that. And she would tell me, when you have golden light around you, that's God's golden light protecting you and stuff. And I was like, wow, I never knew that. I just thought it was maybe something happening to the camera. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Interesting. Like those are all signs, you know, for you to explore further. And it sounds like you're already doing that, you know, with your friend.
Mm-hmm. It's been very interesting, especially since my friend that passed. She's been able to tell me some things that happened right after his passing that she never knew about him except me. And I was like blown away. I was like, how did you know that? It's like, I'm just very intuitive. And yeah,
absolutely,
it's remarkable.
Yes, this is the stuff that we're talking about. And like I said, like I said, these are all reminders of our eternal nature and where we are. You know, I want to thank you for those comments, and let everyone know let everyone know when your show is.
It's every Thursday. The next show will be December the 26th. It's The Voice of Hope at 10 p.m.
Outstanding. But thank you for calling in. I always love to hear you calling. It's just I feel calm whenever you call in. It seems like.
Oh, thank you, Terrence. I love your show. I enjoy it.
Thank
I'll
you.
be
Thank you.
sitting here.
Okay. Thank you
You're
very much.
welcome.
Yep.
Thank you. Bye-bye. God bless.
Yep. You too. Wow. So there you have it, family. I mean, you know, these are some of the spiritual events that go on as reminders of where we are and who we are, and it's all about how we interpret it. She somewhat touched on a point that I want to talk about. I want to talk about medical intuitives because this is a topic that we're going to get more into in upcoming shows. Medical intuitives are psychics who have the ability to tell what's going on with you medically. A famous one that I know of is Carolyn Mice. She's been on Oprah shows and this and that, been all around. And she worked with a doctor for years when he would have a patient. He couldn't figure out what was going on. And he would call in Carolyn very quietly to help tell him what was going on. And medical intuitives are very powerful because they're able to tell you what's coming in your body in terms of your health, and it's from them that we begin to learn the connection between our emotional health and our physical health. And again, we're gonna have some shows where we're gonna really get into that because it's really powerful. It's really powerful. But medical intuitives allowed us to do that. And a lot of this stuff we learn from medium and psychics who tell us about the other side and understanding all this stuff and help us to bridge that gap. And they're constantly helping us. So that's what I want to talk about, some of these terms, and make us aware of that because, you know, it's more than just us talk about it. I mean, we see a lot of shows, you know, on TV for entertainment, but it's really very serious. The fact of the matter is these spirits and these things are just reminders of us, of our own spiritual nature to help us while we're here. You know, they recognize us, you know, they help provide comfort for our family and friends and everything. Have a caller 3. Caller, who am I speaking with? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Is this Dr. Hooney? Hooney Bakatuni. How are you doing?
Thank you, sir. I did.
Are you there?
I think you got disconnected there.
Oh, man.
Here.
Get him back
you got
on.
Disconnected. All right, we'll try to get back on as soon as possible.
Okay.
All you do is raise your hand. Anybody else wants to raise their hand tonight, feel free. Terrence is really coming out surely with an outstanding transcript. 460-562-0444. Put the pen number 741-4519 £1. Let's start to the door. We do have another caller.
Okay.
Caller number 4 is live right now with Terrence.
Yep. Who am I speaking with?
Good evening. This is Precious, the Untitled Poet.
How are you doing, Precious?
Interesting and intriguing topic. When you want to talk about spiritual awareness, wow.
Yes.
I say, yeah, that's really a wide range of spiderweb things that can occur.
Absolutely.
And I'm going listening to the other host that spoke. I'm gonna try to be brief, but my whole life has been that type of experience. But I grew up in that type of environment of spiritual awareness,
Really?
especially on my mother's side. And then, you know, my father, as he got older and you know, his spirituality and everything, he was a pastor, and just, you know, we used to go and get spring water. We never knew when. And he'd tell us, like, okay, we're going tomorrow at this time. And every time that we went to that spring, we went for like probably 15 years that I can remember. Every time we went, the crowd was leaving or they were coming as we finished filling up our last bottle. That's
Wow.
what he was let do. And the difference in his, his personality and his level of calm, whenever he didn't pray, and when he would come home and ask my mother where my oldest brothers were, and, she'd sit down, and a couple minutes later she'd come out the room, let's go. No matter where they were, she could always go.
Wow.
Warrior. She also spiritual traveled. My dad, his thing, it was always in dreams, but in my family it was a triangle. Things would happen a lot faster when three of us had a dream about it.
All three of you. Hold on. All three of you will have the same dream.
Yeah, when I say three of us, there are a lot of us in my family.
Right.
But we had overlapping triangles. That's the best way I can explain it.
Right.
Myself, my sister that's a year older than me, and my father. And then it was my mother. I forgot who else was in their triangle.
Okay.
But it was just one of those type of things. And my 15-year-old was still, working with her to get a handle so it doesn't freak her out. She is so spiritually aware. When she was younger, it scared her a lot.
I bet.
And when she would sense something, a couple times I got ready, she thought I was leaving the house. Mom, don't leave. Are you okay? You're not leaving the house. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm fine. But I got invited to a poetry event, and it was the next day. But when she was freaking out, it was the exact same time, but the day before, of a major car accident, and the car was the same description as mine, like a few blocks from my house.
Wow.
Now, me, when I was younger, it only happened in dreams. But
Right.
as I got older, I said, you have acquired, when you quiet your spirit, it doesn't take all that screaming to get your attention. That's what I call it.
Right. Right.
For me, it's just a change in what I feel like. 20 minutes before I was supposed to leave the house to go to the event, I was like, I don't know if I feel like going, but I told the host I would come. So I leave the house, get to the end of the block, and I see the fire engines and the signals and all that and everything. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not going.
Wow.
Because of the description of the view.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, how I say, whatever you've been taught or whatever you think you know, there's so much more.
Absolutely.
You just can't be like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the goal is when you learn more is revealed to you. You see more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. We're all at different places, but when you learn more and are aware, then you experience more. And that's another powerful story, Precious. It is. Wow. I mean, especially all you three of you having the similar dream.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. I mean, you guys are examples of what I'm talking about. That you are spiritual beings having an earthly experience.
Exactly.
Yep. And that's why this stuff is important. We gotta stop making this stuff taboo. These are tools for us to use. We need this. We need to use this to help us. To help us get out of here. So thank you for sharing that. Is there another caller? Is that what I'm saying here? Hello?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Caller number 4, you're live again with Terry Spencer and Louis Rock.
Who am I speaking with?
Yes, hi. My name is Sharice Lee. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Miss Lee?
I'm doing good.
That's good.
Nice talking to you. I've always had weird experiences my whole life, but sometimes I try to ignore them. But one experience that stands out to me is I remember I was 27 and I was walking, and I remember I was doing a promotion, and this man walked up to me, and he had this look in his eyes. Something was different. Like, I couldn't always tell stuff by the way people's eyes look. And he told me that I was going to conceive I was going to, get pregnant within a certain length of time. And I was just looking at him. And I said, okay, well, nice meeting you. And so since I felt as though that he was coming, to me like that, I said, let me ask him a question. So I asked him, will I ever see you again? And he said to me, yes, you're going to see me real soon.
Really?
So, right. So, it might have been 2 or 3 weeks later, I was doing another promotion somewhere. He walked up to me. And I was on the opposite side of town. He said, I told you was going to see me again.
Wow.
And that must have been about like 3 weeks afterwards. But I ended up being pregnant.
What, really?
I ended up being pregnant. I didn't even know it.
Wow.
But he had told me ahead of time. So that's just one thing. So,
So how did that, so Miss Lee, how did that impact you? Like, how did that make you, did that change you in any way to make you?
Well, I mean, I've been experiencing stuff like that my whole life.
Okay.
So, I always get that tingling sensation when, when I'm around something like that, like I can feel it.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it was just, at that moment it was kind of different, but, that was just my experience. One of my experiences.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that story. We got some very interesting. We got a lot of spiritual people online here. I see people got all type of paranormal stuff going on around them. Wow, that's great. I mean, it's great that you guys can talk about it like that, and that's great. It just shows the time that we're really in. But thank you for sharing that. Well, there you have it, family. We're going to go farther down the rabbit hole. All right, so I want to thank all the callers for their calls. I'm pretty sure it's an Ngozi time coming up shortly. So I'm putting it out there. Are you there, brother O?
Yes, I am. You have another caller on the line right now, and then it goes to time.
Oh, okay. All right, caller. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, you're speaking to the Magic Man again. I don't know. I guess I'm going to disappear now again. Boogity, boogity, boogity.
I thought an apparition got you or something, maybe.
Anyway. No, man. Hey, I'm just going to make it quick, man. Just thank you so much for all that you're bringing. And it's very, very good that a lot of people are coming forward. See, one thing I love about O&E and all the hosts and all the things in which we're bringing, like what you're bringing tonight, we don't have to be in a dark room or in an undisclosed place with the light on. We can just speak to each other.
Absolutely.
And all kind of things is happening in real life. And that's what I give thanks for. So keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you and looking forward to you continuing to raise the bar for all of us, okay?
Thank you, Brother Hooney. And you want to tell everybody when your show is?
Yeah. 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Okay, the name of my show is We Will Away. So I'm looking forward to some of your audience tuning in to my show as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay, and it's always great to have Hooney, Dr. Hooney Bach calling in. And I guess it's Ngozi time. Brother O, you can take it away.
Well, first of all, I'm so proud of you tonight. A shining star in our network's history. Let's talk about that for a second. Antonia Batts did an outstanding job tonight, her 21st all-time. And her second consecutive. But look at you. This is your ninth. 10 tries, this man, all right, 8 consecutive all-time records. I'm very, very proud of you tonight. Time, Jerry Petito, 4th all-time in history of consecutive records. And, this is a wonderful thing tonight. And talking about paranoia, people need to stop being paranoid about what's in the world today. The paranormal should not be paranoia. I'm say that one more time. You hear what I just said there?
I did hear that. I did hear that. Say it again.
Should not be paranormal. I'll never forget when I came home from, I was talking to my mother. And I came home, man, I had a headache, bro. Headache. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what I ate. I don't know what I drank. But at a party time, I was young, 20s, I'm doing my thing.
Right.
And so the next day, I had a real bad headache. And, it was pounding. So my mother had the opportunity. She said, what's up with you? I said, I'm good. And she said, no, you're not. What's the matter? I said, Mom, that headache was crazy. So my mother came over, and because my mother, I definitely believe that the spirit of transitional healing. But I felt it. I used to hear the power of God within her.
Wow.
That woman came over and touched my hand, and immediately the headache left.
Wow.
Immediately.
She's a
And
healer.
it touched me. And immediately the headache left. I looked at her. I've heard about Mom. This is impossible. This can't be. From that day on, I knew there was something about the healing of the Almighty Creator.
Absolutely.
If you believe, that the good book says, lest you believe. So, again, faith makes everything possible, but not easy. Outstanding show tonight from Terrace Strip. Tomorrow night we come back on these ONE stations. I'm really, really proud of everybody. We are a network of great opinions. And tomorrow night we celebrate our style from the Christian point of view and understanding and celebrating the Nativity. It's being brought to you by the one and only. Narrated by the one and only. The late, great John Defender. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Jerry Petito, our International Internet Radio Hall of Fame, will give us our forward presentation and beginning. And she'll introduce the Nativity, and then later, the benediction will be given to you by none other than Reverend Pastor Kevin Perry. Big night tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard. And then we go back into our regularly scheduled broadcast. That's a special tomorrow at 9. And she'll be interviewing a young lady who is a sure in person. I can't wait to hear that tomorrow night. And then, of course, the International Internet Radio Hall of Fame enshrining for class of 2019, Ms. Jerry Petito, Jersey Jewel, and her show, aptly named The Jerry Petito Show, where she interviews Mr. Ken Brady tomorrow night of the Casinos, with legendary doo-wop group of the 1950s. Tomorrow night, right here, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard, at these ONE stations. And, of course, Beverly Nation has advertising through ONE, which is Oladelli and Goes Enterprise. You can reach us at www.lookingglassentertainment.wordpress.com, as well as Ngozi Primetime One at Devnet.com. We're in Ngozi Time, both for Twitter and Instagram. Oladelli and Goes Wrestling Google Plus. Oladelli Malaria and Goes at Facebook, as well as our business page. No, you're right, as well as Beverly Nation Online Radio. Any comments, suggestions to our wonderful programming tonight? oladelli.gmail.com. I am your mother and father's favorite producer, Oladelli Malaria and Goes. Saying good night and good luck to all the folks out there in Orange Force Radio as support us on a constant basis tonight. So wonderful, Sarah Strip. You have exactly 2 minutes left to go in this program.
Thank you, Brother O. I just want to say that we have a lot of progressive hosts on this show. I mean, we could not be more diverse and just very intelligent, great comments and everything. It never ceases to amaze me. And I just want to say, I want to thank everyone for their comments. And again, it's just a reminder of our eternal nature and who we are and what we have to be about. I mean, people calling in, they have all type of spiritual phenomena around them. And I just want to encourage everyone to look at what's going on and find out what it means for you and why it's happening. You know, I'm sure there's some meaning in it for us, and this is how we move forward and evolve. But wow, what powerful stories that we heard tonight. So I see you guys in 2 weeks, and I wish everyone a great holidays. And that's all I have to say.
You're not.